gone to offices and stuff was not as a result of DEI.
So then why would you have a problem with it being removed?
I have a problem with it being removed because the point of the matter is that they are not actually removing DEI. They're not removing DEI. That's not what they're doing.
What are they doing?
Oh, so they okay. So what they basically did was they would go into different offices and such, and as a result of seeing individuals of different diversity or different groups in there, they would specifically like target those people to remove and everything, right? So remember when the federal shutdown happened with multiple, not shutdown, but more like the pause on the Federal Reserve, as well as also the other federal, what's it called? Not organizations. What's the word? The words just slipped out my mind. But there was a pause essentially on federal funding and stuff like that for different organizations like colleges, schools, things like that and everything. And essentially the point of that was to test out to see if that those schools were participating in DEI when in reality, that's not how those schools work or the funding even works in the first place. Majority of the bills right now and stuff that have been like the executive orders that have been tried to pass by him have just not done anything because he's pretty bad at it. But at the end of the day, it's also because his people aren't in
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what your claim is at this point. You said that DEI isn't responsible for black women or black people getting their jobs, which I agree. I think black people get there based on merit. So if we want a merit-based society, we should take away the quota system, right?
Facts.
That's in a society that doesn't have biases. We don't live in
every society has bias. There's bias against whites. There's bias against blacks. So what?
I think the main concept that most people who disagree with DEI, I think the way that they look at it is this. Like if you had 30 people and the top 50% percentile were to be approved, and if those 30 people took a test, the top 15 people that score the highest on the test should get the job. But if you were to then take that top 15 people and you were to then categorize it based on race or gender, then if it was overwhelmingly one gender or overwhelmingly one race, you would have to take away the lower percentile people and add a different gender or race into it to meet DEI standards. So I think that is what the majority of people who are against DEI, that's how they view it. They view it as the other people should have earned that spot, but what happened is to meet a quota, they took away the bottom four and added four others that did not meet the same quota. And that is the argument against DEI. I don't think it has anything to do with specific people or anything like that. I think it just inherently has to deal with people that should have earned the spot, did not get it, and other people that should not have earned that spot got it. I think that's the entire argument.
So TCG, why is it that individuals who have earned the spot and everything, like people who have done it out of merit and everything, are also being like stated to be DEI hires and everything like that?
Give me an example.
Let's say, for example, you go to a hospital and everything, right? And this one actually happened to.
This happened, yes.
Huh?
I don't even know what you're gonna say, and I just feel like I know what you're gonna say, and I feel like I know it's happened. So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
I
so going to a hospital and everything, and the surgeon or the doctor over there, like they were an individual of diversity and such, and as a result of that, they were stated to be a DEI hire, when in reality they had their master's degree, they had completed all the schooling they needed to do, and they had literally the past everything, but they were still said to be a DEI hire just because of the fact that they were of a different race. Is that valid in your opinion then?
One thing I'll tell you is this, all right? And I'm a white male, 38, business owner, Trump supporter, okay? And I'll tell you this right now. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and she has had UTI problems since the age of 5, and it has been ongoing and just craziness. And she actually had to go into the doctor's office when she was 8 years old, and they had to put a catheter in her.
Right, bro. All right, bro.
I know. This sucks to hear.
What's the story?
We're not talking about that.
This sucks to hear.
We're not talking about it.
But the
We're-
doctor that did it was African American, and I can tell you right now
Bro,
that
why
while
are
I
you
was
continuing with
while-
this story
while-
when I said
while I
no?
was- while I was in that office,
All right. Peace out. If you're not going to listen, I don't want to fucking hear from you. I don't care if you voted for Trump or not.
That was an interesting story.
Go ahead.
To the second one, are stereotypes valid? What do you mean by valid, if I might ask? What do you mean by valid for the stereotypes one? I'm curious.
Stereotypes are valid. Some stereotypes fit, some stereotypes don't. But like,
I mean,
we
I
all
would say that's some
stereotype, and we all
Okay.
have like. There's literally, when you hear about a school pew pewer, the first thing you think of is that's a white boy that did that. That's some crazy white boy that decided to go do it. That's literally
Okay,
stereotype.
I understand that. So I would say stereotypes are valid when you keep them to the mind only, but when you decide to jump to conclusions and also act based on stereotypes and everything, like for example, you think that the pew pewer must be a white boy or whatever, and you decide to like, you know, say some stuff or do some stuff against like, you know, those type of people and everything as a result of that stereotype, that is when I say that's a bit of a problem. The idea of basically holding that stereotype to be a fact instead of just letting it be a literal, just like in the moment assumption, you know, or just like a racial bias, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I know that the stereotypes very much sometimes are valid. I myself am someone who sometimes perpetuates them, but at the exact same time, they can be very harmful. And they primarily tend to be harmful with how people
Sure.
use them. Yeah. The right rejects black victimhood but accepts Jewish victimhood. True. that was just true. Yeah. Black History Month curriculum is a scam. What is the curriculum for Black History Month? Because when I was in school, it was it seemed pretty decent. It wasn't like throwing it into my face or anything. It was just like going over key figures and key historical things. That's all.
Weird Live, definitely unfollowing. Listen, this is not an airport. You don't need to announce your departure. I asked you to not tell that story because I didn't think or feel it was pertinent to the discussion, and you kept talking. So if you can't handle the fact that you were removed because you kept talking about a story that was honestly weird, then bye. You could have easily requested back up and been like, oh, my bad. But you're like whining in the comment section. Just leave. You don't need to tell us that you're leaving. I'm totally fine with you going, and you can unfollow. Like, peace out.
But yeah, what do you mean by the black curriculum is a scam? Black History Month curriculum is a scam. I'm curious what.
Learning about the same. Hold on.
Mommy,
Yes. Right here. Open the door. When we only learn about Black history through the lens of Jim Crow and slavery, and we don't have Reconstruction, and the starting point for Black people is 1619, I had a problem with that.
Okay, yeah, I get
Black-
what you're saying there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I'll agree with you on that one and stuff.
Okay.
I guess.
All right. Does anybody else want to go?
Yeah, I was just saying, like underneath me.
Now, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I've already talked.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say I actually agree with all these, and I specifically want to talk about the right rejects black victimhood but accepts Jewish victimhood. Dude, that shit is so true. Like, people who actually think that, like, you know, they'll accept like a lot of like anything a black person does just in general, and then has like a victimhood they won't really care about. But if it's a Jewish person, all of a sudden, oh, it's a big deal. They got to go out and go save the Jewish person. And they've honestly been controlling the blacks for a long time, too, under that scope. But that's just another story.
Okay. We got one. Okay.
And they've been doing that for a long, long time, the Jewish people. But if you do your research, you'll understand that, too.
I was going to get a bunch of people that were like, rare on the right. I'm sure they'll be here, but
No, dude,
I already
that's
had
like, that's
one person.
So true. You're like the first person, bro. Sorry, I won't talk anymore after this, but I just want to say high respect, bro, that you brought that up, because this needs to be brought up more about the Jews for sure, because that shit's it's legit evil, dude. It is.
Absolutely.
I respect.
Paybone, J-Man, and then I'm sorry, Quantum. Oh, man. Is this the Quantum that I know?
Oh yeah, hey.
Oh, shit.
I would like to add on
We're
to.
talking.
Ooh, my bad. Go ahead.
Go ahead, baby.
Oh, I would like to add on to what bro just said because that was like one of my biggest things with this too. It's like, well, I had things to say about two of the prompts, but like the H of cost, they every time you search up the H of cost or whatever, the numbers are always going to be somehow bigger than you would find them elsewhere. They try to like make it seem like, oh, this is a big thing. There's always been some type of like more sorry feeling for the Jews, and they use that like in such a manipulative way that it's getting obvious. So it's just weird, and it is something to question. And then I wanted to move on to Black History Month curriculum is a scam. That is also, I came on here to like half disagree and disagree, but like that is also a good point. Because it's like, why we have Black History Month, but it's not about who it. I think Black History Month should be all about Malcolm X, because his message. All Black leaders in certain times have said very good messages. Like, oh, maybe Marcus Garvey was right about interracial relationships just a little bit. Maybe that's a wild take, but that's what I think. But like, not Marcus Garvey was way too extreme in a lot of aspects, especially regarding today. But when we talk about like the blue influencing us to hate the left, and then putting their hand out, like, so that's the only place left we have to go. So really, there's no safe place for Black people in general, because we're getting mixed up in all this political drama. Like this whole struggle we're going through because at the end of the day, we're not cared about. There's no country backing us up. There is no like, oh, if we don't like, with the Asians, like, not like I'm bringing up all these other cultures to like do, but I'm just, it is good. It's like parallels to draw and stuff, and it's just a lot of interesting points in this prompt for real.
So, in about 10 minutes here, maybe a little bit less, I got to walk into work. So I would appreciate it if I could just say my piece real quick. From the top, as a white dude on the outside looking in, I do agree with that, because from what I've seen, there's like you were talking about interracial relationships. I don't know what Marcus Garvey's views on that are, but my daughter is mixed, and from what I've seen scrolling through these lives, I see a lot of people like dividing based on that alone, and like saying that she shouldn't even exist. So like, come on, man, that's got to be a problem, right? At least to me, that seems like a problem. Are stereotypes valid? Black people time is a real thing. It's not everybody, but bro. Oh my God!
Colored folk time.
Like, when I go and hang out with my girl's family, like they say, like, oh yeah, we're gonna go here at 1:30. It'll be like 3:30, and they start getting ready. I'm like, what is that? All right.
That's true. Listen, when a Black person says they're on the way, they're not really on the way.
Yeah.
Right,
The right rejects Black victimhood, but accepts Jewish victimhood. I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I will say that we do not support Israel because they're victims of history. And Israel, if you look at the history of that, they made that thing happen on their own. They were working on that for like 40 years. And yeah, they did manipulate Western countries for that, for sure. But we continue to support them because it's convenient for our geopolitical interests in the region. And then everything about Black History Month is a fucking scam. Like, it's American history, so why is it like limited to a month? Yeah, you don't even see it. People ignore it. It's the shortest month in America that they chose to give that. Like, everything about that is set up to fail, but it's like throwing a bone. So it's like, it's garbage. And that's my piece.
Gotcha. I noticed you skipped over the third one.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to skip over the third one. What was the third one?
No, you spoke to it, but you just like skip. Like you were like, I guess, and then you moved on to Black History Month.
Go ahead.
So, would you say that the Black plight is something that the right gives sympathy or empathy to?
Oh, no.
So
yeah.
So then you agree. So then why do we give sympathy to that plight?
So that, I think that's my point. Like, so the right doesn't really, because they're more going to be like, oh well, it's been 60 years. Why can't you get ahead or whatever? Rather than like look at facts and data and be like, hey, there's problems that need to be solved, because that takes work, right? But I don't think that they support Israel because of their victimhood status. I think they support Israel because it's convenient to have some like a semi-Western country.
It's not about supporting. It's about accepting their plight.
So then maybe I don't understand the prompt. Maybe that's.
Can I interject? My bad.
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, my bad.
There is no anti-black laws in the books. Would you agree?
I would agree with that.
But there are 38 states with anti-Semitic laws on the books. And right now, they are litigating another anti-Semitic law at a federal level that limits your speech on this very subject that we're having. So the right absolutely does accept the Jewish plight, because now they're telling us what we can and can't speak on when it comes to the H cost. There's no law telling you what you can't speak on slavery. You just sat here and openly said out your mouth, Black History Month curriculum that whole thing is a scam. But if I were to say that H Holocaust Month is a scam, I'm anti-Semitic.
So I didn't know that there were laws on the book. So you're educating me on that. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Look up HR 6090. I'll send you away with that because I know you got to go to work.
Thank you.
HR 6090. Go look up that bill, and then look up the contemporary working definition that they want to implement. It's gonna blow your mind.
HR, what was it again? HR
6090.
6090. Thank you.
Yep. You're welcome. No problem. Thanks for coming up, by the way.